The federal government has announced plans to buy 6 Global 6500 jets to replace the Royal Canadian Air Force's remaining Challenger aircraft. Our guest says the deal may not be huge in itself. However, Bombardier is already to deliver about 60 of these aircraft over the next few years. Let's welcome Nicolas Owens, industrials equity analyst at Morningstar. Nicolas, thanks for joining us, and thanks for putting this into perspective. So the deal in these aircraft, they're for carrying people, basically, aren't they?
It may be. Typically, these could be used as transport, or they may be equipped with various sensors and communications equipment, depending on the intended use.
Right, but in this case, it's for carrying government politicians, foreign dignitaries, and transporting wounded Canadian Forces members is kind of interesting.
Yeah, wow.
You say that, sure, it's more than 700 million on paper, but they have a lot of sales planned for this particular aircraft.
Well, it's good. The name of the game in these sort of high-end manufacturing, aerospace manufacturing, is you want to have your investment in the highly specialized assembly line pay off, right? So keeping that assembly line predictably busy, repeating and essentially churning out copies of your latest and greatest design is what is good for that business. And so adding 6 more planes to the backlog, and my guess is they might have less customization for the interiors than they would for, say, a private client. And so it could be very good, healthy throughput for the assembly line.
Right. And now, are these big? Are these big corporate jets compared to Bombardier's other products?
Yeah. So the Global 6500 is one of the larger models, and these are what we call long-range and high-capacity jets. They generally seat, say, 15 to 20 people, and have thousands of miles of range. So this is kind of at the upper end of the range, which is really where Bombardier and its competitors like Gulfstream operate mostly.
How would it compare to, say, the Challenger 3500?
I don't have the specs in front of me, but it's a bigger plane with longer range.
Right, yeah. I think the 3500 carries about 10 people, slightly fewer. But then you get up to the very fancy ones, like the flagship for today and tomorrow, the 7500 carries almost 20 people.
Yeah, and that is actually the effective upper bound of what a business jet can carry. It has to do with the U.S. FAA flight rules that if you are below 19 passengers, there's different rules in terms of the length of runway you can land on, et cetera, et cetera. So nobody really builds business jets other than these enormous, commercial conversions over 19 passenger capacity.
So Bombardier stock has had a pretty decent run this year. It's more than doubled, as you know, in 2025. Around 226 right now. Now, last time I saw you had a fair value of 218. So it's slightly ahead of that.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, that's within, a couple of percentage points. So I would say the shares are fairly valued. This contract doesn't fundamentally change my forecast. I had already incorporated, let's say, some growth in this defense and civil area. Essentially adding planes to the non-business jet customer base. And the company has signaled their interest in expanding that area of business, whether it's more planes or sort of outfitting planes with different types of equipment that is used for, let's say, civil and military purposes. It's an area I think they're interested in investing in.
And it's interesting, you reckon the company is on pace to get to 150 plane deliveries this year. Meanwhile, the supply chain has got a lot better.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Across the board on my aerospace coverage, second quarter and third quarter seemed to show really some loosening out of these backlogs, whether it be engines or other specialized parts, sort of metal castings and other things that had been kind of rippling through the aerospace industry. It seemed that the activities and investments and, I guess, hand-holding, et cetera, that these companies had been doing in the prior, say, 12 months started to really seem to pay off. And so you see stories where they were saying, well, we're waiting for engines. Well, now they have engines on the loading dock waiting for the plane. So that's kind of where you want to be as the aircraft maker. So it was good news.
And just remind us, who are Bombardier's big rivals in the business jet market?
So again, we're really talking about call it the upper echelon of business jets, these long range and larger capacity ones. And so from my point of view, it's primarily Gulfstream and Dassault to some degree.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Nicolas. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Nicolas Owens, Industrials Equity Analyst at Morningstar.